So we're here for another episode of the sexy side of menopause. And I have someone that I want to introduce to you that I like to consider as a dear friend. She's been in the space of health and wellness, helping women of a certain age, and she has a phenomenal platform of her own. She and I did a couple of things together, and I just fell in love with her when I met her. She does this from the heart. So I've been coordinating with her for a while to get her on with you. So she is here. Want to bring another person who represents health and wellness for women, and this is my friend Deon. Deon, welcome. So glad to have you.
Yeah. I'm so happy that we made it happen. Been going back and forth for a while, but definitely I know that this is always an important conversation for a lot of women listening. And you and I could chat till eternity on this subject. So I wouldn't miss it.
Well, tell my audience a little bit about yourself. I know that there's some things that we've done together that people may have seen on our platforms individually, but we were kind of walking back on the timeline, and I think that's been a couple of years ago now.
A couple of years now. And I actually was looking back at that myself and I can't believe it's been like over 2 years since we did that. So, but that was fun. But anyway, as you introduced me, my name is Deon Hall-Garriques, and I like to look at my life where I am right now in two folds. I have a full-time life in a corporate life, where I am a CPA, certified public accountant by day. But I've been running this health and wellness for women for the last 10 years or so. And I am operating in a space where I am focused on women that are over 40 who are navigating the hormonal changes. And we all know what that looks like, right? So between that perimenopause and menopause, and what comes with that is really where the issues lie, the challenge is, because as we're going through these hormonal changes, our bodies are doing things, they're saying things, they're feeling things, and we have to actually figure out what is going on and how do you adjust or how do you manage, because the point is not to fight what is happening because it's a natural process that's taking place. But there are ways to help our bodies to navigate more easily or with less pain. And so that's what I partner with my clients to do, to figure out sustainable, simple, because we're all busy women. We don't
Right.
got time for a whole lot of stuff. Simple, sustainable changes, starting with lifestyle, that can help them relieve some of those pain and issues and symptoms that they're feeling as they're navigating this hormonal stage. Um, and the other part, actually, my life is three folds.
There's other things that you do I was
Other
going to mention.
things,
I'm like, she's
yeah.
not telling you everything. She's superwoman.
I'm doing the main pieces. And then along the way, I am also a yoga instructor. I have
Yes.
been a yogi for over 25 years, just practicing on my own. And a few years ago, I decided to become certified because what was happening, a lot of the women who I was coaching, the movement that they had in their life wasn't consistent. So I was noticing this pattern. So me becoming a yoga instructor was as a result of what I observed in my clients, right? Then it was a gap. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to start with a handful of clients that I worked with. And I said, are you guys in? And they were like, absolutely, let's do it. And we've been consistently practicing every week for 3 years now, over 3 years, actually, and the group has grown. And so I am evolving that as well into some different things and stepping into some new territory for me. And so those are some of the things that I am currently focused on and absolutely love doing.
Yeah. And the other aspect of your life is public speaking.
Oh, yes. Yes, I love to talk, especially when it comes to health and wellness. You let me go. It's like the butt energizer bunny. You just wind it up and let it go. So, on the subject of health and wellness, I do speak wherever they will allow me to speak. I will go and I will speak. So, yes,
Yes. Yeah,
thanks
we
for
have a lot
remembering
of
that.
things in common. And I want to
Mhm.
think that I kind of watch you do some things and feel like, well, maybe I can put one more thing on this spinning plate and make it work, because I was in a high level coaching program and then went on to several other high level coaching programs. And when you're a business owner in this day and age, you have to be able to navigate so many different aspects of being a businesswoman. And at the time when I was leaning more into developing my business, I was going from a place that I was an employee moving into a business sector that was totally virtual. And there were so many components to doing virtual business that I didn't understand. So I hired a coach, a high level coach. And in this space of high level coaching, is like they're giving you all of these tools that you can use to utilize your skill set to be able to bring in money in several different tracks. And one of the ones that they were talking about was coaching. And it's just like, okay, I'm all about the coaching, got the certification, and I literally have been coaching probably most of my life, but didn't really think about it as a career. But as I looked at this transition in my life, it was like, okay, I can be a coach for women in health and wellness for all of my life because I'm passionate about this. The second aspect was, okay, you need to be able to speak with women about this on several different platforms. And it's just like, okay. So I was starting the process of setting up my speaking business. I did some speaking events, and the creme de la creme, when you speak in an international event in Paris, I'm just like, okay, drop the mic, I'm good. But I would watch you, and you're still going and doing some retreats. So I eventually ended up doing a retreat as a speaker. So this business that we're in, it allows us to be in so many different lanes. And one of the other ones was being an author. I literally have written my book and I sent it to somebody to look at for publishing. It's just like, oh, okay, your spine needs to be adjusted. I'm just like, okay, let's put this on this shelf for a while. But I think you're an author as well, right?
I'm a collaborative author, and so I promoted that for a while, and I just don't do much in that space anymore because there's something else in me that wants to produce a book more in line with the work that I do.
Yes.
But ironically, when I rebranded my company in 2024 from Deon's Wellness Wagon to Balance Beyond 40, the name of the collaborative book was Beyond the 9 to 5. And so this beyond word had been coming up a lot in my world. And then balance was always something that I had in mind. And so when I put both of them together, I'm like, well, who do I work with? So really, it's balance beyond.
Yeah.
So that book was more about my story in trying to build my business
Yeah.
beyond my 9 to 5, even though I'm still at my 9 to 5, but very close to the end. So I am still building, but I feel like I'm in a different place now. It's out there in the world. People can absolutely get it. It's on Amazon, but I'm in a different space where I am focused on something else. Because you know how they say your business has different seasons and
Yes.
even your life.
Yes.
So I'm actually in a different season, trying out some different things right now to just see because the market has changed and we as coaches have to figure out how best to help our clients because things have changed. We can't keep doing the same
Yes.
things, right? So we have to kind of evolve our practice. So I'm kind of in that season right now where I'm again evolving my
Yeah.
coaching practice.
Well, that's the thing
Yeah.
about my podcast, The Sexy Side of Menopause. We as women go through this process of change, and it's like transformation. And I have found when I was working with women of a certain age, there was this narrative like, oh, once I get to a certain age, my life is over. Once I hit menopause, there's nothing left. And I'm thinking, I know so many amazing women doing phenomenal things. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, the sexy side of menopause is here. I'm going to bring
Yeah.
some of the people that I know and even women that I've met on this journey. I'm going into several years of doing podcasts, which I didn't even know was going to be a perfect fit for me. One of my coaches knew what my business was, knew what my talking points was, and she's like, you need to have your own stage. I'm like, okay, so
Yeah.
what does that mean? She's like, these are the different options. Pick one lane and move with it. And I'm
And stick with it.
okay,
Yeah.
I love to have conversations talking, so why not have these conversations on a podcast? And I've been doing it, and the women that I have had these conversations with and the information that they have shared has been so inspiring to me. And
Mhm.
I'm in this place where, okay, ladies, take your power back. This narrative that you've been sold about the menopause journey being like going off a cliff and your life is over is a bunch of BS. These are phenomenal women who are doing amazing things. So you're another
Yeah.
woman that I just have so much respect for, and you're still working. That's the
Oh
thing,
yeah.
still
Oh yeah.
working.
You gotta do what you gotta do. But can I just touch on what you said
Yeah,
about some women who get to a certain age and kind of think that it's over? What I have come to realize, and I think you are one of those women, that once you get to this age, over 40, over 50, and even over 60, you are so powerful. As someone said to me recently, which I said, I'm just going to borrow their line, you get to the point in your life where you've done so much, you've seen so much. What are you afraid of, right? Like you feel so strong and empowered at this stage because you've seen so much. You're so resilient.
right.
And so, if I can say this on the podcast, you don't have too many more F's to give. Like you have given a whole lot already, and you're at the point now where you say what you want, you do what you want, you be who you want. Like I feel like I am more in my own body now than when I was 40, because I'm in my 50s, I'm in my late 50s, right? And so I feel completely at home in my body. I
Yes,
feel like I can set boundaries and stick with them, even with family members, even with the closest family members. I feel no guilt about saying, I am not going to speak to you on that subject. I don't appreciate that. Please don't, like nothing. And I'm completely at ease with it. So this stage has so much empowering to give. And if you're a woman out there that's listening and you're like, no, I don't feel it, you need to step into your power because you have it. You
yes,
have it within you.
yes.
Step into that power. And this is not the time to defer things till next time, waiting for next time. When is that next time?
It's
There
right
is
now.
no, this right now. It's right now. And I know it's difficult sometimes. So I'm too old. No, you're not. No, you are not.
Right.
Right? So just some encouragement and empowerment for women over 40, 50, 60, and beyond.
Yes, that was so inspiring. And one of the things that I have decided to do when I got into the 60 space is such a place of spiritual, intuitive movement that's happened in my life. So I've accepted that space and want to teach from that space. And I look at it that I'm the elder. And if I don't share what I know with other women, then it's a disservice what I'm doing, because I had to struggle in a lot of places to understand what my power was and define what menopause was for me, and being someone that's postmenopausal, looking at this next chapter of my life, what I want that to look like. And I
Mhm.
really didn't have a lot of teaching about what that was when I was growing up. It's like the conversations between mothers and grandmothers, it was like kind of a whisper. So now we're in a different day and time. Technology's here sharing a lot of information, and the women that are like in the millennial space, they're like, okay, I'm going to make this a party. So women are having menopausal parties. They're doing all types of celebrations for this rite of passage. And that's the way it used to be through certain indigenous tribes. It's just like here in the United States, I'm always talking about how the patriarchy is just taking our power away. And we just need to step into this place and say, no, women,
Mhm.
we are powerful at this stage. There's so much that we still have to do, and that we have examples for you on the sexy side of menopause.
Yep, absolutely. Ditto.
So let's talk a little bit about relationships, because that was one of the things that I really realized that was changing in my world. There was a couple of women that I talked to who were in the space as therapists, and also who worked with women who were going through relationship changes, like with a spouse or long-term relationships. For me, it's like people who were able to influence me at a part of my life, especially when you were working. It's just like you try to accommodate everybody. You want to be a team player. Right now, it's just like, no, that's not working for me. And it's not a negotiable conversation. It's no for me. And I need to move in this space. And I know you were saying that a little bit, but I think I want to branch out a little bit more and kind of talk about broader relationships, significant others. Like, what is your thought on that? Because you work with women as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna just go to I'm gonna just the elephant in the room, the intimate relationships. I'm gonna talk about that. Because it's a big taboo still. I mean, women are feeling a little more empowered now, but there's still a lot of stigma around speaking about the intimate part of menopause with your significant other, your partner, right?
Right,
Because I know for a fact that women will go to their doctors and they will not mention issues or challenges that they're having with intimacy.
right, right,
They won't, because what I am told is it's very uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable situation. And so they try to avoid it and they talk about other things. But it's a real issue that we need to start talking about with our partners, with our doctors. And I'll just give a personal story. Like my husband is more in my business than I am in my own business. If that makes sense, right? Like he is going online, searching for things for me, try
wonderful.
this. Like he's found a product that I had to go to my doctor and ask, is this okay that we can, and it was a yes, right? But he did all that research. And so I know not all spouses are that way, but I think it's a conversation that needs to be had in and out of the bedroom, right? If
Yes,
there is an issue, because let's face it, intimacy is a very important part of a relationship,
right, right. True.
right?
Very,
Hands down.
very true.
And women who don't want to face that and think that that's an issue, a lot of times you end up losing your relationships. I'm sorry,
Yes, yes.
because your partner is going to probably go elsewhere to get his needs satisfied, his,
Right. True.
hers, whatever your partner is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's if your relationship is important to you and there are intimacy issues as a result of some of the symptoms that you're experiencing because of menopause or perimenopause. So for example, and people be like what are you talking about? So vaginal dryness,
And they
it's
can
a
find the
fact.
term as vaginal atrophy
Our
sometimes if you want.
vaginal
Yes.
atrophy,
Yeah.
right? Which is primarily driven by decrease in estrogen.
Yes.
Because as we know, estrogen has so many functions in our bodies, from our brain to our joints to just our skin. Everything it lubricates. I like to say estrogen is like the lubricator,
Right.
right? And
Correct.
so when it's out of balance with its yin and yang, its progesterone counterpart, it causes all sorts of different symptoms, and vaginal dryness being one of those. With that said, there are things that can be done. There
Yes.
are products that are
Yes.
out there that can help. So
Mhm.
women should explore that. There are conversations that should be held with your GYN to find out if there are other alternatives. And there are alternatives. And I am not going to get into those
Right.
because
Right.
neither one of
Yeah.
us are MDs.
Right.
So that's a discuss, but I'm just saying that there are alternatives that
Right.
women can use or ask about or get some education on to help with your intimacy, right? So the same way we worry about our brain fog, that's also a result of decreasing estrogen,
Yes.
which I know sometimes women think they're losing their minds and they're developing Alzheimer's or, dementia. Um, and you try to get help for it, right? So it's the same thing with your intimate relationships. It's important. The
Yeah.
other point of the intimate relationship is not being in the mood, low libido. It's
Yes.
a fact. We
Yes.
can't
Yes.
fight it. Yes, our most women, not all, our sex drive decreases. And again, it's a part of what is happening in the body.
Right.
And so, if this is happening and your relationship is suffering, you need to start talking about it, because when you don't talk about it, you make it worse. You
Right.
act as if nothing happens. Your partner may feel rejected, not really knowing what is actually happening with you, that this is not something that you're deliberately doing, but it's what's happening in your body that you probably don't even
Right.
understand.
Right.
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 So we have to start talking about these things, because the first thing that we need to do in addressing them is just becoming aware,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Is being aware and be willing to take some kind of action,
Right.
not leave it alone. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable. Your spouse is probably going to be miserable. And then it affects every
Right.
aspect
That's
of
right.
your relationship. Yeah.
Right, right. Well, kudos for you for addressing the elephant in the room. I have conversations that I will go headfirst into, but I always like to do a dance with my guests because sometimes a person has certain things that they're just not having comfort in discussing. But because of the work that you and I are doing, it's like, okay, let's just have this conversation directly. And I appreciate you bringing this up. One of the things that I want to let women know is that having the conversation with your doctor may be something that they don't have any understanding about. This has been one of the major problems that women have been having because they're going through these menopausal symptoms and the doctors don't understand. And God forbid if it was an older male doctor who thinks you're just coming in here whining and crying and you just need something for depression. So when you
Right.
want to talk about vaginal atrophy, he's not comfortable trying to have a conversation. So
Yeah.
what I would encourage you to do, that's why I gave you the term, start doing some research so you can be able to have the conversation from a place of certainty. And if you have a doctor who's not aware of that, you can bring some of these informations that you've come across to see that they can research it with you and give you some suggestions. This is the reasons why I'm having these conversations on the sexy side of menopause, because if you're not capable of talking to your mother or aunt or somebody in your immediate circle, where do you find some of these answers? Get in community. The place that I have here, the sexy side of menopause, my women in my circle, like we're talking about a lot of different conversations. So take control and ownership of what's happening in your body and try to figure out how to have conversations from a place of understanding how you can communicate to a doctor who may not understand. But I would say, because of what I'm doing as health and wellness coaching yourself, we're doing so much research and finding real time information that's coming up for women to support them. A lot of these products that you're talking about, I saw them hit the market a year ago, but I would venture
Yeah.
to say you probably wouldn't get it in your doctor's office. It's so
Yeah.
brand new. But now we've got
Yep.
a year or so of women who've been using these products and see the difference. It's just like, okay, so I have a place that I can go to get some relief and have a conversation with your professional medical
Yeah.
doctor.
And I would also say that another resource is, if you are not getting anywhere with your doctor, because sometimes, like you mentioned, the doctor, sometimes they're not comfortable talking about it, but also sometimes they don't know how to address those things, because as we know that in med school, most doctors don't really, that was not a thing for them to address menopause, right? It was give them some pills and send
Yes.
them home.
Right.
So if you are not able, if you really have severe issues and your doctor is not able to assist you, the Menopause Society has what they call menopause specialists across the country. And these are MDs who are certified in menopause to help women. You can go on the Menopause Society website. They have a lot of resources there. You can read up. They have lots of different resources. You can read up about menopause, but you can also find a menopause specialist
Mhm.
on that website as well. And just find somebody who will listen to you and who understand, because what you're experiencing is legitimate. It's not in your head.
Right.
It's for real.
Yes. Yes. So true. And you mentioned the doctors who didn't do a whole lot of medical hours in menopause. They also didn't do any significant study on nutrition, which is
Right.
vital for us during this stage. I have
Yeah.
heard women who were OBGYNs who were coming back and apologizing how they weren't serving their clients well during their menopause phase because they themselves found themselves in menopause years later and realized, like, oh, what I was telling my clients to do wasn't working, so now I feel bad and I need to find the answers. And nutrition is a big part of that. We have to give
Mhm.
our bodies the nutrients that she needs to be able to navigate this next phase of life. So for me, I focus on detoxification. We've eaten so much junk and crap that our bodies are just having struggles, just trying to
Yeah.
get through day to day. And once you purge out this toxicity and bring in good foods, you would notice a significant difference in how you feel. Also, I had a couple of women who were sexuality experts and specialists, and there's certain exercises that you can do to wake up, that womb area and to bring more vitality. So there's a lot of things that are available to you. Keep
Yeah.
listening to this podcast. I try to bring all of these women in. I used to do summits all the time, like every quarter, and I would bring women from all different aspects of our lives to help us navigate this space. And I took one of these classes from this woman. She did like erotic dance. Girl, this class was on
Woo!
fire. You hear me? This class was on fire. So just know it's not all about taking some medication. You just got to work
Yeah.
with your body. She's in a different space.
Yeah. Yeah. And on the nutrition, the I'll piggyback off what you said. We at this stage, we can't eat like we're 20 or 29 because our bodies, it's not as forgiving as it was when back then, right? Like you will
Yes,
notice, oh my goodness, people will say, I just ate one little thing and oh my goodness, I gained so much weight and I used to be able to eat so much more. Yes,
yes,
that is true. Our bodies are changing. And so we have to kind of eat for our hormones,
right,
and there are certain foods. I'll just say this. There are certain foods that are not hormone friendly food. For example, big major category, processed foods. Your hormones do not like them when you are past the age of 40, 50, 60. Okay. So we have to change the way we eat because our bodies are changing. It's
right,
evolving. And
right,
that's something that some women are stuck because I used to be able to do this. I used to be able to do this. We have to move past that
right, right.
and work with your body. Don't
Yes,
fight it because
yes,
that's where the issues coming. You're
yes,
trying to go back 20 years. Your
yes,
body's fast forward. So you got
exactly.
to work with it and not fight it.
Right, right. So true.
Mhm.
So true. So, one of the other aspects that I want to talk about because of your background is movement. I have always been in the fitness space. I used to be a fitness instructor myself. I had sons, they were always in the gym and sports program. I'm not going to be the weakest link in my family, so I'm in the gym with them. And I was introduced to yoga and strength training in college. And I've never eliminated them from my lifestyle. It might change how I incorporate them depending on where my lifestyle is and where I'm going. But I took my first yoga class in college, fell in love with it. I didn't even realize how impactful that was until my yoga instructor woke me up because I was in the class sleep. I was asleep. And then with
Shavasana.
strength so then with the strength training, it's just like as a college student, you want to hang out with the guys. That's where all the guys were. So I took a class on strength training. So I understood the equipment and then I understood what was doing to strengthen my muscles and change my body tone. So I've been incorporating that throughout my whole life, which is, I feel, what's helped me to be in a space that I'm really good on this menopause journey. I'm not 20 years old, but I would tell you I can pick up what I need to pick up. I can open what I need to open. I can jump through. Like, I'm active because I've kept those things in my life. So as you look at women and they get into midlife and maybe you haven't been as active, certain things that they can do to bring in mobility, I would say yoga. So I wanted you to speak a little bit about the importance of bringing movement into your life and flexibility. And for me, I always reference, walking. I think that's one of the easiest, simplest
Yeah.
things. I travel around the world and I've ran around the world. I've walked around the world. I was in Egypt on the pyramids walking. I was in Paris. I was walking. It's like these are things that you can do in your lifestyle now. You don't need to wait
Yeah.
for some other time. It's not past you. You can incorporate them now.
Yeah. And good. That's great. So what I want to say on movement. So movement is not just superficial. There's a deeper reason why we want to move as we get older. So start looking at the physical, like our muscles are disintegrating, our bones are getting weaker, right? We're losing bone density. And so these things are naturally happening as a result of the aging process and everything that comes with the aging process, right?
Right.
Declining hormones and just, time and age. So, what movement does, and at certain movements specifically, and I'll touch on the strength training, that helps to mitigate some of the losses that's taking place, right? So, for example, strength training helps to strengthen our bones. We go for that DEXA scan, and sometimes we have osteopenia, and we know the next step is what, right? As we get older. So, what strength, and when we say strength training, it's resistance training. It can be used with your own body
Right.
weight, free
Right.
weights, a machine, anything that's exerting any kind of force
You could even be
against
in a
you.
pool. A pool.
Yes, you can of peas, right? Two cans of peas, but we want to preserve our muscles, we want to preserve our bones, and then that's protecting us, right? So that we can be 70 and standing tall. We
Yes.
can be 70 and walk around the block. We can be 80 and still being able to do our chores around the house and do our gardening and be able to do it's strength training is for longevity and the type of the quality, right?
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to live to 150. I don't know. But as you age, we all want to live a little bit longer. But while you're doing that, you also want to be strong. Who wants
Right.
to be sitting up, curled over on a walker or a wheelchair? And then it can happen. But now is the time in your 40s, 50s, and 60s to do your part to
Right.
mitigate against some of those bone loss that are inevitable,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I look at it as I want to get older and stronger as I get older.
Yeah.
So when you think about movement, I think we have to change. When we were 20 and maybe 30, we used to work out because we want to be thin,
Mhm.
right? Like at this stage of our lives, thin is out the window. You know what I want? I want muscles.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
muscles and I want strength. I
Yeah.
don't, I thin, and the thinness or whatever you call thinness, but your body has its own definition,
Right.
right? You're not going to be a size two if
Yes.
you were a size two when you were 16, we might be a nice size eight or a size 10, but we're strong and we have muscles and we're building. So we need to look at our exercise and our movement differently, and walking is a great one.
Yes. Yes. I am a big proponent of it. I find that I go into walking meditations. I used to be an
Mhm.
avid runner, 10 miles, and I would just go into flow. And I was thinking that, at a certain point, I don't want to have my knees replaced. I remember hearing a lot of people talk about hip replacements and knee replacements. I'm 60s and I have no problems with my hips or my knees, but I do feel like that I was listening to my body. It was not necessarily for me to be running 10 miles as I was getting into my retirement state, just like I needed to shift into a softer type of activity. And I did enjoy walking, but I thought like walking wouldn't keep me lean and fit in tone, but I found that I had to do a longer walk or either
More.
do more frequent walks, and over the course of a day
Mhm.
I got enough in. They tell you to shoot for 10,000 steps. I even got to the point where I can get to 15 or 20,000 depending on how my day was. But I find now when I go out, because I don't have this hectic schedule that I had had before. I can go out and walk for hours and just be in a flow, in a zone where I'm not even conscious of where I am. I mean, I'm not doing anything that I'm not unsafe. I know my routes that I'm walking, but I've just tapped into this place that is
Yeah.
absolute bliss.
Yeah. 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 And you're right. I love how you said you used to be an avid runner, but now you listen to your body because you didn't want to get injured. Well, I was an avid runner myself. I ran on the streets, which was a big mistake for me, at least, for over 20 years, right? And now my knees, I haven't had knee replacement, but I have backed off on running. I walk too, but I've had to back off from running. I have a bad back. There's a marathon next week that I first the New York City corporate challenge. I've all for 20 plus years. And this year I said I can't
Yeah,
because my knee, I have to listen to my body and my back. And so you just pivot into something else.
right,
You know,
right.
it's a season.
Yes, absolutely. It's one of those things to me. If you are a person of a certain age, your life should start slowing down a little bit, and you should be able to quiet some of the noise and tap into what your body is asking of you. That was one of the things that I realized. Like, I was so used to being in the grind, pushing, pushing, pushing. So I wasn't really listening to what my body wants. So now, at this stage of my life that I don't have as much chaos happening, I can get up in the morning just like, okay, do I need to get up and walk, or do I need to do more stretches in bed? Like, I will listen to what my body's asking for. Sometimes we'll wake up and we might have, something that feels sore. Do I need to spend some time meditating on that space and giving it love? And
Hmm.
like, I am in a totally different space of my life, and I try not to force my body into things.
Yeah.
The only thing that would shock my body is if I'm doing an international flight and it's just like, okay, I gotta be at the airport at 6 o'clock in the morning. That is a level of stress to me that I don't want to have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. But I remember my life
Yeah.
used to be chaotic like that every day. Clock going off at 4 o'clock, traveling on the metro a couple of hours, stressful job, 8, 9, 10 hours, and then coming home and being, mom and taking care of, like, yeah, there's a day and time for that. But as we move into this
Yeah.
stage of our
Yeah.
postmenopausal phase, life slows down, and we just need to
Yeah.
move into a space that we're in balance and taking care of what our body's asking for. So I'm going to get
Absolutely.
ready to throw it to you for any last comments. I cannot believe how quickly this time has gone. You've
Oh
shared
my
such great
goodness.
information. Thank you so much.
Oh, can't believe that we've talked for that. I tell you, we could talk for hours.
Yes, we could.
Um, Anyway, if you are listening and you are interested in any, if you want to check me out, my website is balancebeyond40.com. And I am on Instagram, same handle, balancebeyond40.com. YouTube, balancebeyond40.com. Where else am I? Facebook, balancebeyond40.com. And you could just reach out to me. I do have a couple of free gifts if you go to my website. I have a belly fat, 5 secrets to reducing belly fat, because that is a thing for us women,
Absolutely.
where it just everything just kind of settles there, right? So this guide has some tips that you can use to start shrinking or just taking certain steps to get better with that. And I also have, if you want to check out one of my online yoga classes, I hold weekly classes online via Zoom. You can sign up for a free class. Like, you're welcome to come check it out, see if you like it, and stay if you want. So you can go to my website again at Balance Beyond 40 and navigate to the yoga page, and you will see the link to sign up for a free yoga class. I think that's all I have.
Well, thank you for that, ladies. I encourage you to check out the yoga class. Follow Deon. She has a wealth of information. I love her so much. I'm trying to strong arm her into doing a retreat with me. I think that that would be amazing. What, you going to say something? I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say I am working on my first retreat right now in
Get
September.
out.
So we will talk after, then we can probably plan
Awesome.
something else. But I am actively I'm like, I'm doing it. Like the same thing we talked about. Like I've been having this in my head for the last 10 years, and I'm like, I am stepping out in faith, and
Yes. Yes.
I'm just doing it. I
Yes.
don't know where the people are going to come from,
Yes.
but they go come, and I'm just doing it. I'm just doing it.
You know, this is what we need as women on this journey. We need a space that we're supported, where we can learn from each other, that we can
Yeah,
be tapping into what we need to do next in our lives. And it's really difficult to do that when you got a lot of chaos around you. Retreats are just a phenomenal experience. I've been
yeah,
in retreats since early childhood. I'm always looking for some kind of retreat for business, health and wellness for women in menopause. I haven't seen that too much. I imagine that it's starting to pick up now because we have a lot of women. I understand that the baby boomers are the biggest population now. So a lot of the marketing is being done to women to start utilizing some of their dollars in the economy. But I feel like retreat is the perfect space for us to be able to support each other and tap into what we need to move into this next level. So congratulations on getting into the retreat space. I am going to definitely be talking to you about that. So ladies, I am getting ready to wrap up this episode with Deon. I am so grateful for your shares. And I'm Beverly Whitlow. I'm your host of The Sexy Side of Menopause. I help women just like you to break through the stigma of menopause and lean into an amazing, powerful next level life. So with that, we'll see you on the next episode. Bye. Thanks, Dion, for being here.
thank you so much for having me.
Perfect.